My name is Diane. Standing at the entrance of the luxurious country club, the grandeur of the place was lost on me. The once anticipated 30th wedding anniversary party of my parents, Helen and Robert, was about to turn into a battlefield. I clutched the red folder in my hand, a symbol of the truth I was about to unveil. A week ago, my world shattered when my younger sister, Lily, who is 24, sent me an audio file. The message was taunting. "Guess who has a surprise for you?" Little did I know that 4 minutes and 27 seconds of that recording would destroy all the illusions I had about my family. In it, I heard my parents' cold laughter. "She really thinks we love her. What we love is her money," Helen said nonchalantly. Robert chimed in, calling me naive. Lily even wondered how long I'd keep the money flowing. I've always been the responsible one in the family. I'm a 30-year-old senior financial advisor at a well-known firm in the city. On paper, I was successful with a good salary, but a significant part of it had been going to my family for the past 7 years. It all started when I landed my first proper job. Helen called, sobbing about a medical emergency. They needed $600 for my grandfather's treatment. Without hesitation, I transferred the money. That small act of kindness turned into a never-ending stream of financial support. It was $1,000 here, then $2,600 every month for their mortgage in a suburban neighborhood. Lily's tuition at a private art school, which cost me a total of $85,000 over 4 years, was also on my shoulders. And when Robert lost his job due to a company downsizing, I took on their living expenses. I always thought I was being a good daughter, but in reality, I was just an ATM with feelings. I remember that Tuesday night clearly. I was at my office on the 35th floor, overlooking the city skyline, but I barely noticed the view. My phone lit up with a message from Lily. I was still the Diane who believed in the love of my family. I smiled, thinking she just wanted to chat, but I was horribly wrong. Lily graduated from art school 2 years ago, but she's been finding herself ever since. That means living rent-free at our parents' place, posting pictures of expensive brunches on Instagram, and hopping from one short-term job to another because she gets bored. I used to defend her, saying she was young and needed time. What I didn't know was that Helen had added Lily as an authorized user on my credit card 6 months ago without asking me. I only found out when I checked my bank statement after seeing the timestamp on that audio file. The family group chat that week was typical. Lily complained about being broke while showing off a new designer bag in her selfie. Helen reminded everyone about the anniversary party, and Robert just sent a thumbs up emoji. Then, that fateful message from Lily arrived with the audio file. I should have waited, but I pressed play right away. The party was supposed to be a grand affair. Helen had been planning it for 5 months. The venue was a prestigious country club where membership was a luxury I couldn't afford. 80 guests were invited, including relatives, friends from church, and Robert's old colleagues. Helen had chosen everything down to the last detail: the menu, the flowers, and the seating chart. She'd picked out her elegant purple dress months in advance. And the highlight of the evening was supposed to be a speech from me, followed by the presentation of a special gift. 2 weeks before the recording, I noticed a charge of $30,500 on my credit card for a luxury cruise in the Caribbean. When I called Helen to ask about it, she laughed and said it was a surprise gift I was giving them for their anniversary. They'd already told everyone about it. I was in shock, but didn't argue. I was always the one to avoid conflict. But then, the audio file changed everything. After listening to it that night, I couldn't sleep. I listened to it 3 more times, taking detailed notes. I calculated that I'd given my family $410,000 in total over the 7 years. I thought about all the things I could have done with that money: bought a house, taken vacations, or saved for my future. At 3 a.m., I reached out to my best friend, Mia, a lawyer. I told her about the situation and the amount of money involved. She replied right away, asking to meet for coffee the next morning. The next day, I followed Mia's advice. I froze my credit card, canceled the unauthorized cruise, and stopped the recurring monthly transfers to my parents' account. When Helen called me to ask about the car decline, I told her I was reviewing my finances. Her tone turned cold, and she started talking about the family's reputation and how I was embarrassing them. Lily FaceTimed me that evening, sitting in what used to be my childhood bedroom. She said I'd caused a stir, and Dad was upset. When I asked her why she sent the recording, she said she was curious to see how long I'd keep being the good daughter. She also mentioned that the whole family thought I was trying to buy their love with money. I spent the next few days gathering evidence. I printed out 7 years of bank statements, the confirmation of the canceled cruise, and screenshots of Lily's message. I also got Mia to verify the authenticity of the recording. I asked my neighbor, Jake, a 32-year-old graphic designer, to come with me to the party as a witness. On Saturday, my phone was flooded with messages from relatives. Aunt Grace said it was a misunderstanding and that family should forgive. Uncle Tom offered me a loan, implying that I was having financial troubles. Cousin Laura asked if I was coming to the party, saying that Helen had been crying all day. But then, Grandma called on my voicemail. She said she knew Helen had her ways and that I should be careful, but she also saw the truth. On Sunday morning, Helen called again, giving me an ultimatum. I had to come to the party, give the speech she'd written, present the gift, and never mention the card incident again. Otherwise, she'd call my boss and tell him I was having mental health issues. I calmly told her I was recording the conversation, and that combined with the recording Lily sent, I had proof of their actions. As I walked into the party, Helen greeted me with a fake smile but a sharp look in her eyes. Jake introduced himself, and Helen quickly recovered her composure. Inside the ballroom, everyone seemed to be pretending that nothing was wrong. When it was my turn to speak, I took the stage. I started by talking about the wonderful memories of the family, making my parents relax. But then I shifted the focus to the present. I told everyone about the money I'd given over the years, the mortgage payments, Lily's tuition, and the unauthorized cruise. The room fell silent as I revealed the total amount of $410,000. I played the recording, and the gasps in the room were audible. Helen tried to claim it was fake, but I showed the metadata and Mia's verification. Lily was in tears, and Robert sat in silence, his face red. Uncle Tom stood up and demanded the truth from Helen. Grandma also spoke up, scolding Helen for lying to the whole family. I stepped down from the stage, saying I wasn't there for revenge, but to set the record straight. I announced that I was done with the monthly transfers and the unauthorized use of my money. I said I'd be open to an honest conversation if my parents ever needed real help. As I left the party, Grandma stopped me in the parking lot. She told me I'd done the right thing, and that I shouldn't let Helen convince me I was the villain. Jake and I drove away as the sun set over the city. In the days that followed, the aftermath was intense. Aunt Grace called to apologize and said she was disappointed in Helen. Lily sent me a bitter email, blaming me for ruining her life. 3 of Robert's friends from church sent me apology notes. The country club sent an invoice to my parents for the party, and I learned from Uncle Tom that they were struggling to pay the mortgage without my money. 2 weeks later, Helen posted a carefully crafted post on social media about family struggles, trying to spin the story. She called me, accusing me of ruining the family's reputation. I told her I'd told the truth, something she'd never tried. A few days later, Robert sent me an email. He said he'd always known Helen was wrong, but he was too afraid to speak up. He told me he loved me for who I was, not for my money. 1 month after the party, I went to see a therapist, Dr. Ava, that Jake had recommended. It felt terrifying at first not to send money to my parents, but it also felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I visited a real estate agent and started looking for a condo. I realized that I could finally afford a place of my own with my full salary. That evening, Jake and Mia came over for dinner. We toasted to new beginnings. I looked around my small apartment, knowing that it would soon be replaced by something better. These 2 friends were my chosen family now. 6 months after the party, Helen never apologized. She continued to tell people I'd had a mental breakdown. Lily blocked me on all social media. But I didn't care. I signed the papers for a 2-bedroom condo in a nice neighborhood. The housewarming party was small with Jake, Mia, and a few work colleagues. Robert came alone, looking a bit awkward but trying to make an effort. Grandma came, too, bringing her famous muffins. A year has passed since then. I'm still a financial advisor, but I've been promoted to manage a team. I've been on a few vacations, and my savings account is finally growing. I started writing a blog about setting boundaries in family relationships, and it has gained a lot of followers. People share their similar stories, and I know I'm not alone. Grandma passed away a few months ago. I was there with her at the end. Helen didn't come. I gave the eulogy, and it was surprisingly easy. Robert and I meet for coffee once a month. We don't talk about Helen much. Lily is still out there, but I'm not chasing her. I've learned that true relationships are built on love, respect, and boundaries, and I've chosen to build a new life for myself.